pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pledge it does. This is financial management. No. Yeah. And the sign-in sheets moving around. Here's yours. So for the members of the public, Financial Management Committee is set apart from the Budget Committee. This financial management primarily does policy type stuff in the arena of finance. As a matter of fact, under the statute, if the commission decided that they wanted to disband the Budget Committee, they could, and all the finances would be jumping to the Finance Committee. But we have it separated. We have our commission does all the budgeting through the Budget Committee, and this committee is primarily for policies. And first thing on the agenda is approval of our minutes. Those are online and also distributed, I think. So I'll entertain a motion to approve. Thank you, Matthew. Second from Evan. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Okay, seeing none, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. And the only reason we're calling the Financial Management Committee together is, I'll give you the backstory. Working on a grant with South Central Development District to get a playground at the Agri Park. We've selected some playgrounds, but we need to have like a co-op agreement because all the ones that we were selecting were under this co-op. And the reason these co-ops exist, you can probably help me explain this, but the co-ops exist because the negotiated low price has already been done in the background through these co-ops. We don't have to put them out for bid if they're being purchased under these co-ops. That's essentially it. Anything?
Yes, Tennessee Code allows us to do that, the cooperative purchasing, and we are members of several of those agreements. This particular one, the Omnia, we technically were and are a part of, but the name has changed, and so audit is requiring that we have a new resolution for that. To become part of those, you have to have a resolution, so you all will have to, well, the commission will have to actually approve this in full court. Compliance has to generate from this committee first because it will become part of policy, and we'll add that to our financial management policy and procedures, noting that this is an allowable purchasing cooperative.
So the purchasing agreement was sent around by email, and then the resolution has also been sent to the commission. And I initially thought the resolution would go through your committee, but it comes through finance because of what Beth just said. So are there any questions on the co-op agreement? Or I'll entertain a motion and then we'll get into debate if there is any. So, okay. Motion to approve the agreement and a second from Gene. Matthew, you had a question?
Yes. My question is, does this change anything to do with our insurance if we're having another playground? Does that cost?
No, because there's already, yeah, it's a good question. There's a playground at the Agri Park. This is just in addition to that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Good question. Anything else with the agreement? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to a vote. So, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, motion carries. So now let's get into some new business.
I just want to give everybody an update. I know we don't meet very often, but so when we do like to give you financial updates. The biggest thing that has been going on in the finance office has been our timekeeper software. Just kind of want to give everybody a little bit of history on that. We did the kickoff call on December 2024, and we can gladly say that January 19th we went live. And with all that being said, it has been quite full of challenges and hurdles. And so with that, I would like to recognize Shelby Thomas for her hard work, her dedication. Sorry, Shelby, but this has to be done. So we're gonna stand. It's a really, really big deal. Our department heads, Joey, Tamiki, especially in the room, Dr. Beard, realizes the effort. When we started this process, nobody, including us, thought that it would be as difficult. Nobody nobody thought it would be as difficult as it was. When you have all these different various departments that our office is responsible for, from the sheriff's department and their different schedules, to EMS, the 24/72, to just the regular 8 to 4 folks, all the different school substitutes, all the different leaves and after-school programs, and even teachers who go out and do homeschool. You have to find a way to make all that work. And so, this lady, by herself, because really she's not had any help from anybody. She took on this challenge, we're working on budget, and she did every single bit of it by herself. And I want to just go over a few little things. We had to make notes, but it's just so much. She had to do the scheduling. She had to do the school sub integration, pay types for all the different departments and rules associated with them to make the software, payroll software, and the timekeeper software meshed it together. And she let it kind of slip that one night it didn't work. And so in order to make sure everybody got paid, she stayed up till wee hours of the morning doing her time sheets, folks. It wasn't even gonna tell me to put it down all the time. Setting up different jobs types, for small groups of employees who extra time is calculated or managed differently than everyone else in a department. Managing all the odd issues that have come up in license and lodging, creating workflows for the sheets, approvals in many different departments. The on-site training for several departments. She has been to school, she's been, any office who's needed her, she has been there. She's been constantly available to all departments, after hours, weekends. I know her and Joey are probably like best friends now. And she's never minded a bit for that. Taken away from her family. Anyway, it's been weekly calls. She's been a part of anyways. I don't like to do this in front of you all the Friday. But the dedication that this lady has put in, and if we were in the private sector, she would have a huge bonus. She would have an all-exclusive paid trip and go to vacation of her choice. But instead, she's got this comp time. And that's what breaks my heart. So this is the least I can do for her, is to recognize her hard work in front of the powers that be. And so with that, Graham,
Okay.
That's
really hard to follow. This is a certificate of achievement presented to Shelby Thomas, Finance Department Senior Accountant, in recognition of exceptional dedication and outstanding achievement in the successful implementation of timekeeper software for Giles County government. Through relentless problem solving and hundreds of hours of dedicated effort, Shelby worked tirelessly with software developers to customize programming and tailor the system to county processes and personnel policy. Her exemplary work ethic and commitment to excellence embody the highest standards of public service to the citizens of Giles County. Good job.
Thank you.
That's her reward, she doesn't have to give speech.
It has been a very, very long process, but it is starting to pay off, and will beyond more ways than we ever imagined that it could be, and for all that, it's worth it. So thank you guys for being patient through all this process.
Okay. Beth, do you have any other new business? Any members of the committee have any business? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Now that it's programmed.
There's all.
Sure, man, how are you?
She's on different stations.
Oh,
No, she's next door. She's up to Howard Avenue. She would have to all day. Yeah. Oh, trust me. You know everything.
You too.
Right. Tell me everything.
I'm so sorry for not getting back to you. I just want one thing. Yes, ma'am. No, you got the right number. I've been all over the place. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Right, yeah, that's my phone number. I literally, I kept sitting there, I was like, I need to get back to her. And she was really after the investigation. So I've been all over the county, so. I just want you to know I wasn't, yes, ma'am. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm like, I need to make sure she knows I haven't, I just have not had a second to actually sit down. It's been,
You don't have to get up.
Well, Natalie,
yeah, right. Yeah, so, you know, you'll not
Yeah.
I did run the.
That's what I
I was talking to the other rescue.
I wasn't
They're paying about $1 million for it. I mean, we get like a large portion of dollars on every single.
Yeah, I
It went a little further than I thought it would. That's all me. I'm sorry. I'm better early than I
What's that? Oh.
That's what I felt like I was doing. Just this. I keep sliding a little more down
Yeah. Still an hour Yeah.
That's
Yeah, you're not really worried about
Good morning, we'll go ahead and start the budget meeting. The prayer and pledge have been had. Next is the approval of minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at those minutes from our last meeting? If not, I got a printout here. Motion to approve, Mr. Hopkins. Any second? All right. Any discussion of the minutes? All right, all in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next, announcements. Mr. Womble,
I don't have any.
Mr. Stowe?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else, announcements? Okay. Keep on trucking. Budget amendments. We have a sheet out here that Beth is front and back provided. Beth, could you maybe walk us through that?
Okay, the first page is what you all see every year around this time. It's where audit requires us to show the budgeted fund balances to the audit fund balances. That's just more for their sake than it is for ours, but that's the first page of that. Then we just have, two items. On the county general, we have the health department direct funds where the contribution we have to make back to the state for those allotments. They're allowing us to take $1,025 and use those for direct funds. And then we have a grant for the ambulance service. It was I understand that was a competitive grant that Willow had started, and then MJ, the ambulance service was able to finish and get that award for $3,303. Again, that's 100% grant funds. And those are the only two items we have at this time. Anybody have any questions?
Mr. Hopkins?
I was just gonna say motion to approve so we can discuss.
All right, second. By Dr. Lathrop. All right, discussion of the amendments or approval of the amendments. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimously approved. Next is grants and contracts.
So I've got several, I'm just gonna list those again, we don't really need any approval, just like for you all to know kind of what's on the agenda for. The first item we have is our updated service agreement with Digitech. Digitech is our current ambulance service provider that does for our billing. We currently have a contract of 4.95%, and due diligence of Jackie and Walter, they've been able to negotiate that down to 4.6%, so this will be a savings, for the county. So that's an agreement that you all will see, for court. And also, we have several for the schools for contracts. We have one for Fallen, that's our library platform, I believe.
Library and inventory.
So that's that contract. Several that you already have been aware of, but I also want you to kind of see again. This is the Tennessee Education Broadband Consortium. That's also for schools, because it's multi-year, anything that goes past the fiscal year, you all know it has to be ranked in the minutes of the court. So that one's gonna be on there, and then also there is a Zayo Education contract that's multi-year. That will also be in your packet. The ambulance grant that I just mentioned is also gonna be, up for approval as well. So again, it's a lot of paper, it's why I did not make copies for everybody, but you'll see those probably first of next week. If you have any more questions, you can let me know.
Fair to say no new money
No,
from the county, just grants.
grants and contracts that cross fiscal years.
All right. I'd make a motion to approve the grants.
We don't need it.
Okay.
Really don't need this anymore, just
All right. There's another, under new business, this, community development block grant for Fairview Utility District. I'm curious, can we just kind of lump that in with these grants? Is there any opposition to go ahead and taking up this other grant that we had under new business? That Fairview Utility District is basically applied. This is no new money from the county either. Yeah.
Need a motion on it.
Yeah, all right, so a motion by Mr. Jones to combine, seconded by Dr. Lathrop. Just for the public's knowledge, Fairview Utility District recognizes that they have some infrastructure upgrades that have been needed to be made. They've identified a grant. I think there is some match.
Can I speak?
Yeah, please.
So a CDBG, a Community Development Block Grant, a county can only have one of those ongoing at a time. And right now, Giles County does not have a CDBG in place. So Fairview wanted to take advantage of that, just like Evans is explaining. And there is a match. I think our county match, based on our status, is 17%. But Fairview is picking that up. So Fairview has a resolution that they're committing to that match. So, but the county must sponsor that grant. They can't apply for that themselves. So, and that grant money, it's competitive, but if it's approved, it's gonna run through the finance department, because we have to manage all those grants. So, anyway, we're just kind of backstopping Fairview Utility District for this grant.
And just to give you raw numbers, the cost of the total project is $900,000, so 17%. Local contribution will be $153,000 that Fairview Utility District is paying for. That's written in section 3. So I think the resolution's clear. Yes, sir.
What is the time frame for this? Because obviously this means that we can't be involved in another grant should one become available for us. So how long are we unavailable to take advantage of another grant to do this?
The projection is a year.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So I guess as soon as we receive the funds and that project is implemented,
Mhm.
then that frees us up for the next block grant? Yes, sir, Mr. Carpenter.
Does this mean that like the county is kind of co-signing for it?
No, sir, because Fairview has that resolution themselves, that they're committing to the match, we're not backstopping them with funding. But we are the sponsor of the grant because they can't apply themselves.
Yeah, and I've seen, I think you emailed out that Mark Hayes, their board director, I guess, has
Yeah.
signed it, so they've approved that resolution internally. So I think that covers us pretty well. Yes, sir.
Was
Mr. Wilbur.
it a replacement of old lines or extension of new lines?
Old lines on 31,
Thank you. Yes,
On
sir.
the full commission, we'll see all that spoke of first in reports, but then this we'll see as a resolution. So in full commission, we'll see it in 2 different ways.
I think that's correct. Yes, sir. Any other discussion? So at this point, we've combined the Fairview Utility District grant with the existing grants that Beth already described. There's been a motion and a second to approve them all together. Any further discussion? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And just so you know, the attendance sheet has been circulated. If we come down to a roll call, I might need to look at that. But has everybody had a chance to sign the budget? All right. So that takes care of grants and contracts. Next on the agenda is budget calendar. So I thought we had approved the budget calendar, the revised budget calendar. And maybe, is there any business on the budget calendar that needs to be addressed today? Maybe it inadvertently just ended up on the agenda.
Yeah, there's the nonprofit application that you have under the legislative. And if you do that, it impacts the budget calendar because you would take that second tier group and move them out past the budget.
Right. And just to remind, the change that happened with the budget calendar was, I think last year we realized, okay, all these nonprofit applications were due May 1 and had been due May 1 for a few years. But we realized we need to get through our budget cycle with the must funds, the things that we have to fund, that we don't have discretion. We obviously have some discretion when it comes to many of the nonprofits. So we basically categorized tier 1 non-discretionary nonprofits. In other words, the ones that we have to at least, if we're gonna fund it all, fund at a baseline, maintenance of effort. And then the rest are what we normally think of, the nonprofits who we don't have to fund, but it's discretionary. We basically move that till after we pass our annual budget. I think that's worked well for us because to just basically see if there's anything left over.
Really what we're doing is changing the application. That we had them applying in April for something we
Right.
weren't considering until July.
Right. And there have been several nonprofits reach out to say, hey, is this due this month or first of next month? And I've tried to tell them that we're basically revising the rule when we get to legislative committee that says when the deadline is for them. Yes, sir.
Aren't we also revising it so that they can file digitally instead of the paper copies?
That's
Just wanna
right.
Clarify that.
That's
It was a
right.
big expense, as I recall.
It was a big expense on them to provide all these paper copies for
Right.
us all. We basically said, now, one paper copy, the rest can just be a digital file that gets emailed out to everybody that has email. So I don't think, based on what I'm hearing, that there's any, in the budget committee, any action required for budget calendar. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. All right. Next on the agenda is, it meant to say Will Tax review. The only update I would have is the state responded to our inquiry about the timeline. We had a lot of discussion about, if we were to vote, if it were to go to referendum, there's a lot of, we want to send it to a general election. I think, to summarize it, it's already too late to get it on the August, but there is a general election on November 3rd. What is that, the governor's?
Right, in the city.
Yeah, and the city will have, so there is a general election on November 3rd. In order to set any wheel tax vote up, if it went to a referendum, to fall on the November 3rd general election, we would need to vote in May and June. And this hopefully answers your questions, Mr. Reedy, as well, and I think you saw the email. In other words, if we were gonna go try the back-to-back months, passing it by 2/3 majority, that would need to happen in May and June. And again, those resolutions would be passed by 14 votes, 2/3 majority. Mr. Hopkins, looks like you got a question. No, it's fine.
I thought that didn't give us enough time, because I was under the impression that once we did that, we had like 90 or so days.
75 to 90 days.
Which would, doesn't that put us a little outside of that, if we're looking at November election?
Right.
Hence, if we did that, we will be forcing an immediate, election, so we can't do it in June and July. That
Actually,
would-
no, Mr. Reedy. Okay, if we do it May 18th on first reading, and it passes, then we will do the second reading on June 25th. That triggers, an opportunity for the public to have, 30 days to get a petition in, and that has to be in by July the 25th. And then the petition, they have, like 90 days
To certify.
to certify, because they gotta go through all these petitions after they're received. And that, put us in target for the November 3rd.
I thought that would put us right before that, with 90 days. You're talking about May, June, July, and then.
They have up to 90 days to certify, but they're not having to do it at that time.
Okay,
Now, this is information coming from CTAS
In the election, state elections.
state election. See if we can do it.
okay.
Yeah, and I have the email printed out. One of the themes that Melissa Kelton had gotten from the state attorneys was the election commissions obviously benefit from more notice. So if they know it's coming, and they even said the election commission has some flexibility, discretion for when they schedule the referendum. We didn't necessarily know that. I mean, the way the statute reads, it has to happen between 75 and 90 days.
That was my point,
Yeah. No, I mean, you're not wrong. But I think we were basically saying, if we wanted to set this up, that if it went to a referendum, we would want it to fall on a regular scheduled election. This was their answer, that the votes would need to occur in May and June. So I mean, that's the update. And again, if anybody wants to make a copy of this email I printed out, please feel free. Just set it right here. Any questions or comments or action required? I don't think so. Okay, wow, we got to unfinished business in 15 minutes. Any unfinished business? We're gonna take up the trustees resolution under new business, because we haven't really talked about it collectively yet. Any unfinished business before we move on to new? Okay, new business, I have the trustees resolution. Has everyone had a chance to review that? I know it went out to budget committee. This, tell me if I'm wrong, Graham, this allows Tony Reisner and his office to receive partial payments throughout the year, as opposed to one bill being due for property taxes by February. It allows people to make payments sort of throughout the year, which I think benefits, or is good for a lot of people. They'd rather break it up, but also it makes it where the money is already coming in, and we're not necessarily waiting till one part of the year for it all to come in. Is there anything else to that resolution? I mean, I don't have a
You
pretty.
benchmarked it off of other counties that are doing a similar process.
Right, so other counties are doing it. Yes, sir.
But in doing it, we have to make sure, that's my right, we cannot make interest off of this. I think that's the law, we cannot draw interest off money that somebody's paying in ahead of time. I don't think, we
I
need to make sure.
do know that so it would not be applied yet to the fund until it comes due.
Well, I'm saying, Tony had talked about before, he had talked about taking that money that was coming in early and just putting it in its own account for it to draw interest, and he found out we couldn't do taxes.
He's not sure that with me, but that would be an interesting aspect to make sure we evaluate that, but.
I know the trustee American, and they do that, Houston Community
Do we need a motion to approve this?
We do.
For the discussion, so I'm making a motion to approve it.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Hopkins, second by Dr. Lathrop. Mr. Carpenter.
Would this go in effect February the 28th of next year, or?
I thought it, well, I thought it went ahead, once we approve it in full commission, that it would be in effect at that point. So people could already begin bringing
How would they
in.
know how much to pay if they don't get a tax thing for next year?
Right, that's a good question. To me, for example, I think of estimated tax payments, like with the IRS. I'm self-employed. I don't really know what my actual tax bill is gonna be, but I can make basically an estimated payment based on, what I made last year. And it's basically accounted, when you pay in your final bill, say, well, you got, X left over to pay. So basically, it helps you go ahead and make payments, even though you're right, you wouldn't necessarily know your full bill for that year until it's sent out. What do they get sent out in December? October. All right. But yes, sir.
On another part of that, let's say I own a parcel of property and I'm paying taxes on it. And then midway through, I sell that property, but maybe I have overpaid. So then that puts a burden on the Tony or whoever the tax trustee is to go back and
Prorate it.
prorate it and everything. So, I mean,
Good point. Dr. Lathrop, then Mr. Jones.
Addressing your question, because those are good questions, and probably Mr. Bismarck could answer those. If this comes up, passes, and comes up in the vote for it, we have a list of questions there. I think he can answer all of those.
Beth, do you have something on that?
Just after speaking with Tony about this, since he's the one who is pushing for this, I think he's evaluated all of the pros and cons, and I feel like it's something he feels is a service to the taxpayers. So I think even if it is more burdensome for him, I think he is willing to go forward with that, because he's the one who is presented this, wanting to do this, but I think he should have the right to answer that, but.
And I would say most deeds, when you do sell land, address that in some way. That, as of the date of this signing, buyer assumes.
right,
You know.
and I know that,
Yeah.
but, he assumes tax at that point on.
Right.
But I was just saying, if say you've been paying $200 a month on it and you've had it for 6 months, well then, then the tax comes up, well, you don't pay it because.
Right. Ms. Goolsby.
To help you out on that, it's already done. It's done every day. It closing. Because somebody who has a mortgage on their property pay every month towards their taxes. So at the closing, the title company or the attorney, whichever's handling the closing, already gets a printout of how much taxes have been paid this year from the last time it's been paid. And it's a common practice.
I understand that part, but I'm talking about Tony's part.
Well, and he's contacted a lot of times if they have to make sure that the tax companies are, the mortgage is paid. It's a pretty standard.
Mr. Wongo, did you have something?
Yeah, just to answer an earlier question, section 4 states that the resolution shall take effect the month on passage.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have some other hands? Yes, sir, Mr. Wilburn.
This is not saying you have to do it this way.
Correct.
This is just saying, your rent's not due at one time a year, it's rent is due every month. It'd be easier on some people than just one week.
Right.
You ain't never gonna get your house paid for as long as you got county property. It's always gonna be rent there. And it ain't never gonna go down because, you know, yes, paying too much, you got your last year's tax card, you ain't gonna pay too much.
I don't know many people who are gonna wanna overpay. Any further discussion, any public comment before we go to vote on the trustee partial payment resolution? Again, not required to make partial payments, but it just allows people that option. Sorry.
I think this is a beneficial benefit, because, I mean, I know it'd be much easier. I'm with you, I mean, I have to pay my income tax quarterly, because we are self-employed, and it's much better than even going rent.
Whoops, my money's already spent, sort of thing.
Because right now, I mean, we just don't hit it. It's house, property tax, income tax, I mean, it's just one right after another.
Anything further on the trustees' resolution before we go to a vote? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. And we've already done the block grant for Fairview. We're just trucking right along this morning, y'all.
It's been jinxed since 20 minutes before the meeting. Somebody else jinxed it, so.
I don't believe in superstition, so I'm gonna. Oh, that bites me sometimes. Any other, Beth, you had something for
I do,
new
just
business?
want to update the committee on, the little concern that we could have with the highway department on their, equipment parts. There's been a lot of, breakdowns, et cetera, and I know we're running over in a line item. So I just want to put you all on notice that we may have to do some funds, or we may have to pull some funds from other sources to be able to get him through, the years. But as always, I don't have an amendment right now, but I'd like to go ahead and let you all be aware of some budget constraints. And so Gene is here if you have specific questions, but I just wanted to go ahead and let you all, be aware of that.
No, I'll just say, if you got a question, like you said, just the cost of everything. I mean, you know, we budgeted in that line what we did have in the past, the cost. And we have had I've brought to y'all, one incident on our tractor that burned, you know, we spent a small fortune, we got it parked out there, but, it's eating up a lot of money, just parts in itself. You know, yesterday we had a $4,000 hydraulic mow pump went down on a bush hog, and we just started our bush hog season, and you know, we know it's coming, so we just wanted to let you all know, and where we move it, how we move it, how we do it, you know, just wanted y'all to know, we've not, when we came to that point, be in the dark.
And also, piggyback on that, should have mentioned that too, with fuel. Fuel has always been an area in all of our budgets that we've been able to kind of pull from if we need to. Right now, I think we all kind of know where that's looking at. So, projection one would think maybe we'll be okay for fuel, but we're not gonna be able to pull from that.
Right.
So that's kind of reasonable constraints on the budget. But this is more just to let you know, But right now, if projecting it out through June, it's not looking good. Don't know that don't think we're gonna make it, on the path that we're going.
Obviously, fuel prices are beyond our control.
Yes, it is. And it affects everything that we, now that everybody's putting fuel surcharges on it, and everything you touch, with the fuel, and fuel's got something to do with about everything you touch. Anyway.
All right, anything else, y'all? We're about to conclude the budget meeting. Anything else budget related under new business? Seeing none, any public comment? All right, Dr. Lathrop, did you have something? All right, we have a motion to adjourn. We have a second by Mr. Hopkins. Any discussion on that? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. All right, we'll jump into the legislative. Thank you, the finance office. Oh, yeah, all right. Legislative.
Nice to see you.
How are you? Stan. Good,
Who is the district secretary?
I don't think it doesn't matter, you pay the same. You can mark it at the top, it takes you to
I'm sorry, yes, sir. Get used to that soon. I know, that's what my buddy said.
To the lights, to the cell phone. I've had it doing that for 30 years. This is what goes on. I'm gonna tell you about it. Every now and then you'll wish out. Probably 30 years. And it will like you. I'll tell you what, everybody have two little babies.
It's like, well, that kind of takes the joy out of it. It's like, Is it? All right, any objection to starting the legislative? We'll go ahead and get started. We've had the prayer and the pledge. First item is audio recording of committee meetings. That was Ms. Jones's proposal. Ms. Jones? Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Thank you, Kevin. The minutes from the legislative meeting, we've sent those out. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? And is there a motion? Motion to approve by Mr. Savage, second by Ms. Guthrie.
That's okay. I'm sure I read them, I just forgot.
All right, so the motion and second have been had for the approval of the legislative minutes from our last meeting. Any discussion on those minutes? All right, any public comment on the minutes? All right, all in favor of approving them, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Those pass unanimously. All right, audio recording of committee meetings, Ms. Jones.
Okay. So I wrote it out. pretty simple, sorry the font's so small. But, we have equipment over there that's not been utilized. It was utilized some last, term for some special needs. But, I think since we have the equipment and since transparency is something that we need to, always be thinking about and increasing where possible, I would like to, submit this for y'all's consideration, and I'll just read it since it's quite short. It says, whereas transparent communication builds trust and supports informed decision-making. Excerpt from Fiscal Health Principles for School Districts and Local Governments. That's where this quote is from, comptroller.tn.gov. Whereas recording equipment is presently located in the Giles County Commission meeting room in the annex. Now therefore be it resolved by the Giles County Commission that all county commission meetings held in the annex meeting room shall be recorded and stored as a permanent record, and upon request shall be made accessible for county officials and the general public. And this resolution shall take effect upon its adoption of public welfare requirements, which I hope it will be considered in this month's board commission meeting.
Do we have a motion?
I make the motion.
Motion to approve by Ms. Jones, second by Ms. Guthrie. Ms. Guthrie.
I just have one question. Has it been checked? Are you positive it's it works?
It's pretty current equipment. And it did work last term. I don't know, they might use it this time. But it was purchased, or, I don't remember if we got it for a grant. Do you remember, David?
Grant.
It was a grant, okay. And it was utilized when we had some, special meetings of interest. I know about the Exit 14 that was utilized in public. Actually, it was videoed and put out there. But I think it would be helpful to whoever's taking the minutes to have a recording that you could access. I'm sorry.
Judy's name.
I just had a question. Did the radio station take charge of that, or were we in charge of taking that?
It belongs to the county.
The equipment, I just remember Scott would put a recorder on the tape, and it would be transported to the radio station.
I don't know if that has anything to do with the equipment back there.
But somebody has to operate it, don't they?
That's my question. Who's
Who's
responsible for
responsible
operating?
for the recording?
Well, I don't know. It would have to be worked out. I don't know who's willing to do it or who's able to do it. I'm not a tech person. But we do have a tech person that has been hired.
And the equipment does belong to us, to the county.
I suppose it's on the inventory list of our assets. Or should be.
We have Mr. Jones, Ms. Woodard, Mr. Savage, then Mr. Adams.
This would be something that, it's, if you even act like you're against it, then you're against transparency when you say that. But I've got so many questions on this. All right, if we load more on this IT guy, we can't expect him to do it for nothing. So that's going to increase him.
When you paid by the hour. Is it not paid by?
No, I think there's, I don't know how he's.
I thought he was a contractor.
I know we set out a contract of labor on him for a certain amount of money. So that's what I'm saying, it'd be a lot more, it needs to be at the equipment. And then who's gonna store it, who's gonna be responsible for saving it? It's just a lot of questions.
Yeah, I
Need to
understand. Well,
ask.
it should be in the county executive's office, but I don't know whether we get his cooperation.
That's just a start.
I'm sorry. You're right there. Would we get your cooperation?
You're being ridiculous, of course you have.
Okay. Okay. I didn't ask you.
And I just wanted to ask his question, it's just so.
Yeah.
Great questions. Mrs. Woodard.
That's what these microphones was put in for, that, we will be recording
I gotta go.
why they use.
You got my cooperation, just figure it out.
Your time's limited.
I did ask Reggie who's our IT guy, to evaluate it, and he hasn't done that yet, but my concern is the audio recordings I've heard in the past, if you're like sitting where David is, or Matt Rebelski, the sound quality was pretty bad.
Well, that was before the.
So that's why I said we need to kind of test it and see what was done.
Okay, thank you for
We
that.
just all come in one day and just practice.
Sure.
Mr. Savage.
I was gonna, offer an amendment to, approve pending, review of how much it will cost, because I think you have to get the dollar figure before you can truly implement it, because you got a couple of questions. First of all, you would be, increasing the data storage on the website greatly. Data storage costs money. You'd have to figure out who's going to film it, who's going to be responsible for uploading it. You have a lot of unknown costs that need to be figured out. Doesn't mean it can't be done. I don't think you can truly approve it without knowing how much it's going to cost.
I'll second that motion. Thank you. I had Mr. Adams, then Mr. Vanderpool, and then Rebecca.
I just wonder why we bought it if we're not gonna use it. That's some more of that where you need to say no, still out there and spend a bunch of money to buy something, use it. If you're not, don't spend the money. That's the reason when the check went in now. You spend on wax.
I do believe somebody said earlier it was grant funded, but I agree with your point. I agree. And you're right, grant funds ultimately come up from a big pool of taxpayer dollars, one way or another, so yeah. I agree. Thank you, Mr. Adams. Mr. Vanderpool.
I think just there's opportunity to glean from the school board on this and what we have in cloud services and what we do with Google technology. And I have asked Mr. Irick at the Board of Education to speak with Reggie Watkins, who Graham was referring to. And there are potential really good opportunities for savings for the county to take on that Google platform, which is much more user-friendly. It's much more secure. Right now, when you guys have emails added, it's like an act of Congress, or if you have an issue with it. Whereas within that Google platform, you can work within drives and sharings. Our meetings here could be a lot more technological, a lot more savvy, so when we have a school board meeting, we use our smart boards that both record the camera, do the video. It's really a couple of one-touch. Everything's set up before. It's recorded. It's also transcripted while they're doing it. So there's AI transcription, which isn't always accurate, as we know, but you can go in and clean up where it does a little bamboozle, if you will. But it's going to capture everything versus not, missing the spots, because we know Miss Lois and any human can't keep up with it. With that, and to Caleb's point, the fees and the costs and whatnot would be part of that enterprise edition. And so, I'd be interested to see, a little bit more look into that. And when I did talk to Reggie about it, I've worked with Reggie off and on for 20, 25 years. He said he would like to switch from it. That was just kind of his say to me. I'd like to get more of his input. But there is an opportunity to both save money, introduce exactly what you're talking about, and do it. You don't have to be a pro at it, like when you use that Google platform. So there's some real option there, and you guys hear us come in and talk about E-rate and these different internet contracts and whatnot we do because of the number of employees, the number of accounts and all that we have. If we could combine that with accounting, there could be cost savings there and more than that. So.
Mr. Jones, then Mr. Wilbur.
Instead of amending this, would it not be proper to let's postpone this and have Graham look into more of this cost saving stuff and get with the IT guy instead of amending it and voting today, let's postpone for whatever you would think, 30 days, 6 days.
Mr. Savage?
Either way, it's fine. It's Ms. Jones' resolution, so wouldn't it? I'd be interested to know her opinion.
If there's nobody.
Wilburn and Dr. Lathrop.
What I was gonna say, best I remember, of course, this speaker system here, it was just to increase where people could hear you better. I don't ever remember us recording anything on this. And I think we got this grant to help people here in this room, because it was, I don't even know if it's on now. You can probably reach your finger and touch it and see if you can hear it. But I don't really hear it coming out of the speakers, what I'm saying. That's my recollection, we got it to hear it better. I don't remember doing any recordings.
Test.
No, it ain't on.
Good questions. Dr. Lathrop, then Mr. Reed.
I think this is a good option, concept to look into, but I think from the discussion here, we need to get some more information and different options on how this could be accomplished, the cost, and then go from there. So I think in the conceptual form, good idea. As to the actionality of it, I think probably should be delayed until we get more information.
Mr. Reedy?
This was put in during the COVID epidemic, and it was funded by federal money for addressing COVID issues. And because we had approval to do virtual meetings, so we had the screen was put in and TV, and everybody called in. Nobody could hear anything, so it was pushed back. It was probably not researched for very long because we were behind the eight ball to get something before we could do work.
It was not very inventive.
No,
They couldn't hear us.
All right. I don't see anybody else in line. Ms. Jones?
I like what Knox has brought up. I don't know anything about that, but what he brought up sounds very promising, and I think we need to look into that. Let me make a point. Recording the meetings does not take the place of the secretary. The minutes will always trump the recording even, if you look into it legally. And I know during the last term, I got a copy of a meeting that was recorded by that unit over there. So I guess the county executive, no, last term.
Okay.
So I guess she was keeping, maybe recording most of the meetings, I'm not sure, but I did get a copy of one of the meetings. I like the idea of postponing this until we get more facts. We might come up with better suggestions and systems and hopefully increase our ability to make things more transparent for the people out there, because, you know, a lot of times we don't have the press, or sometimes we don't have the press here taking the video, and sometimes the citizen or whoever is not available to take the video and put it out there for the people. But we all know that the people can't be, a lot of them can't be at these committee meetings, and so we know that also that our full commission meetings are based on what we do in committee meetings. So I think these committee meetings should be publicized as much as possible. And to have video recordings and accurate records is always a good thing when you're in government.
I'll second her motion, she has made a postpone.
Did I make a motion? I did make a motion. And gather the facts.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll be glad to withdraw. The only thing I was gonna say is, what about whenever we have meetings other places? OEM, highway, sheriff, law enforcement.
That's a good point.
Something that all needs to be looked into. Because if you're gonna write a resolution, you have to follow it.
Right.
So you would either have to stop having meetings there and have every meeting here, or you would have to figure out a way to make it more portable. So just another thing that needs to be looked into.
Well,
while we
this
wait.
does say meeting room in the annex.
Yeah.
Starting point. But
So the Google edition, the Google version of this would do that. So last night we had a school board meeting in Richland. So we just tapped into theirs. We actually took our Blue Hot mic with us and set it on the table. We did have a little bit of bugs last night just because of the unit we were using. But, you know, we're able to plug into that AV, and then with it being, you know, on the server, then you go to that folder that you created for that meeting, and everything's ready to just go online and start capturing. And one other thing to it too, and when I saw your resolution come through, Gail, it prompted me to think about it, is that you're getting the technology to also, you know, you throw that drive up there, it has the documents, it has the agenda, it has everything, and you can easily create hyperlinks to these different agenda items. So it's not necessarily that you have to have 100 pages printed off in your folder. So we're sitting here, the general public is sitting here. I think one thing that we're missing, and one thing I think you're trying to point out, Because, you know, I don't have all the paperwork and I don't, you know, and sometimes it's put online in time for you to get the agenda and before the full court, meetings and whatnot, but this gives you the opportunity to quickly say, okay, how many times have we heard people in here say, I don't have that paperwork in front of me? You're just a couple of clicks away from pulling it out of the drive and being able to see it. And obviously with it being cloud and Caleb's point, you can utilize it from any location that has internet.
Yeah, my one clarifying question was, when you say recorded, you mean just the audio? Because I mean, because there's also video, but I mean, I imagine that would be more costly. And I kind of had my own thoughts about requiring video, but we don't have to get into that if you're just really talking about audio.
Well, I think we'll just need to consider both of those later after we see what not to talk about as far as the Google platform, and just see what is available. If it's not, then it's much more difficult to, you know, I'm the least technical person here, I'm sure. So, but if it's not that difficult to do video, do it all. I mean, we need to move into the current
You basically
century.
I think David's got you beat, I'm sorry, but hands down, David's got you beat on technology.
Yeah.
Second, please, second.
Okay.
I'm just, well, if I can follow up, if we were to require video of all committee meetings, I worry that that would incentivize grandstanding and sort of performing for the public, the audience, as opposed, which can be, well, and I'm just saying, knowing you're on video is distracting. I remember when I sat down there a few meetings ago and there was a phone just facing me the whole time, it affected, it's a little distracting. And if we're really talking about efficiency and being candid in our discussion and being, you know, voicing our hesitations about things. You know, we may not be willing to voice the hesitation if we think half the county's out there live streaming at work, you know, while we're, I'm just saying, there are potential trade-offs.
There's 2 cameras on us right now.
You're right.
Well, I don't know if they're getting my good side, it's more my bald spot, but.
We'll turn this way.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, it's something to sleep on. I think audio recording is really, you know, the minutes already reflect our decisions that are made and, well, the rationale behind it. This would create a lot of, you know, raw material out there to kind of be parsed through and pick and choose our selective comments and misconstrue. I'm just saying, there could be some downside. But, you know, everybody's always welcome to come, and I appreciate the people who do come. Any further discussion? It sounds like the motion to amend has been withdrawn, and I'll withdraw my second, and the current motion is to postpone until we find out more about the costs and options here. Yeah. Is that fair? Mr. Jones?
Let's be sure and include all of that we just talked about, let Fran look at it, whether we take it or not, it will be looked at.
You could appoint a subcommittee to be part of, you wouldn't want to serve on that?
Good.
I'm just thinking of you.
Subcommittee of one.
Subcommittee of one and
What
that,
you know.
You got 2 IT guys.
Yeah. They can stay with us. We'll come up with a backup system.
Any further comment, any public comment? All right, motion to postpone, we're gonna vote on that. Is there a time limit on how we're gonna postpone? Just when we have more information, we'll circle back on it. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next item is revision of commissioner pay resolution.
I did this, Evan.
Okay.
You know, this was approved in the last legislative meeting to go full commission. And what was approved was to take out sections 2 and 3 and to add the line that this pay schedule will stay in effect for 4 years. I don't think this had to come back through this committee, but because there was a committee meeting before full court, I just brought back the revisions that were approved by this committee for everybody to see before it goes full court. I don't know that we even need a motion, but that's what this is.
I had a chance to review it. I appreciate you drafting it. Does anybody want to see the current resolution? It'll be in our packets.
It's just with the changes that were approved last month.
Yeah. Any comment on the pay resolution as it is? Any questions? This will be in your packet this month for approval. And I do believe it tracks with, what we approved last legislature. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say, I know people are going to look at that and think, oh, that's an increase in pay. Yeah, it is, but let me tell you, we couldn't keep the old one, the one that we passed last because the state says you can't have the penalty clause in there. But also, the one advantage of this particular system, of this particular pay system, is that you're not paid for each committee meeting. And, you know, a lot of times you hesitate to call a committee meeting when maybe you should, and it's back and forth, well, it's gonna cost this much to have a committee meeting, and take to do that. So you won't have any guilt if you know, kids in the communities, if they wanna call a committee meeting, you're not gonna have any guilt over this particular pay structure. So, I just sometimes think, committee chairs are put in a difficult spot. You wanna call a committee meeting or not, because of the cost. So that would set that aside.
Mr. Jones?
Can I say something what Gail was talking about? It does appear to be, but nobody talks about the appearance of when Grant come in, we've done a lot of meetings and it's, nobody's talking about the decrease. Because I know that my friend, Sony, he was a highest paid, he was getting, the last year that he was, it's like $3,800. I don't think anyone, not the commission been here prior to us, they can testify if we actually took less money now than they were then. So it's, nobody talks about, well, they sure are getting a lot less money now. Nobody talks about that. But I understand the public's perception of, oh, look at that. But no, we were 38, now we're going to about 5. So you're looking at about 1,200 in a year. So I don't think it's anything that's going to break the bank on that part as far as, now, it'd be good to say, oh, no, let's, and we even had a guy in here that said, hey, why don't y'all do this for free? And he called away and I asked, that was back when we still put a ring on that. Please do. Use all that, good, you know?
We're lucky we'll get gas.
Hey, Ms. Guthrie, then Ms. Jones.
Yeah, okay, so it's frozen or it's the same for 4 years, is that correct? Okay, so what happens, because the county executive's salary increases every year, so what happens on the 5th year? I guess the new commission renegotiates or?
I think if nothing happens after 4 years, then it'll just stay as is. But they obviously can revisit. That's a good question.
Yeah, it could be, substantial.
That's actually inaccurate. They can renegotiate, but it won't help them. It'd be the next
Right.
commission. So the reality is, if it happens, the next commission, before the end of their term, needs to make a new resolution, so it will start following the current. So let's be clear, it's not gonna be, you know, oh, just let the incoming commission deal with it. They can't. We have to deal with it before the next commission comes in.
Just like we're doing.
Yeah,
Just like we're doing now. All right, we have Ms. Jones, and I saw some other hands. Go ahead.
I'm just wondering, so if it's gonna be based on the county executive's salary, what is his salary? Does anybody know?
It's going up, I think, 116.
No, I thought it was 108.
Well, I'm thinking the next raise, I'm not positive. Any of you candidates know?
Go here, 110.
I'm
I
thinking,
feel like it was like close to 117.
yeah.
All right,
They
Mr. Wilson.
have a 3% raise every year, so if you waited, if you
Sometimes
renewed
it's
it,
5.
you know, for
This year's 3.6 is what somebody told me yesterday.
state mandates, at least.
Yeah.
The state mandate's 2.65.
Mr.
Well,
Wilbur.
that was my question. I couldn't remember if it could be increased every year or it was a 4-year term. But it's 5%. It could be 5% every year, right?
We've seen a 5% lately.
What's the same way back, so.
But that's not saying anything about the county, that's the state doing that.
Yeah.
But still, if they do it every year and you sit in the commission for 4 years, you're not actually doing what was set out to be done. You know what I'm saying? Really. So I'm not bringing no issue back, but clarification.
And I don't know what the state's reasoning is, you know, mandating, I mean, cost of living increases, sure, but I don't know that that's 5%.
COLA is 2.8 this year, elected officials 2.63%. So I guess they're like, well, we'll keep it under that, but.
It's election year.
What else? Who else?
Saving money.
That's all I have.
All right. So we're still discussing the motion that's been seconded. Any further discussion, any public comment on approving the resolution? That really memorializes what we've already voted on.
I don't think we had a motion.
No,
Do we
we
need,
had
I
a motion.
don't know if we need, let's just let us know it's.
We already knew.
It'll be there. We
Yeah.
already know.
Like I said, I just brought this back because there was another meeting before.
Thank you. All right, well, we'll vote on this in full commission. Next item, and it looks like final item, nonprofit application. This shouldn't be much of a surprise. Our nonprofit application deadline has changed. But, the rules of the commission, if we're gonna make a change to the rules, have to be done through this committee and then approved by the full court. And the rule change, printed off here in red, the changes, I could even put it up on the screen if anybody really wants me to. Basically, under Rule 21, that's, the heading is charitable and nonprofit organizations. Everything else stays the same until 21.5. It clarifies library and rescue squad applicants must submit one printed copy and one PDF copy. And that was the other change, that we're not requiring all paper copies on May 1, or by May 1.
Evan,
Yes, sir.
is that only if they keep the same maintenance method? Is that not what we talked about? They wouldn't have to fill out the whole packet if they had the same maintenance method. I think what we talked about in legislature, if they wanted more money, they'd have to fill out the whole, is that right?
Rule doesn't say anything about maintenance of effort. Does anybody else recall that?
We had talked about.
The library and rescue squad didn't have maintenance of effort, they were together there, so that would work.
What's being asked right now? Okay, the other change is 21.6. It looks like 21.6 was a complete new addition. I'll just read it out. All other applicants must submit one print copy and one PDF copy of their completed application to the county executive's office by 4 p.m. on July 1st. If the first falls on a non-business day, then the application deadline will be the next business day following the first. So, this is really helping the nonprofits know what's expected of them and when. And as we've talked about, we've bumped it into the future so we can get past approval of the operating budget that we do every year, hopefully by the end of June. Motion to approve by Ms. Curry. Second by Ms. Goolsby. Questions and comments about this rule change? Mr. Wilbur?
Just a clarification, are you pulling the libraries and rescue squad from that, or is it, how is that
So, library and rescue squad are being grouped into what we're calling tier 1.
the same day?
To get approved earlier.
Okay,
Their deadline's May 1.
okay, that's all.
So in other words, that stays the same.
Right.
But basically, everybody else gets bumped to, their deadline's July 1st.
And I think what Terry was mentioning a while ago is, what we're saying in some of the other meetings, don't even fill out one if your maintenance efforts are gonna be the same, but y'all voted against doing that. You still want to have a.
Because we have the libraries, not even to jump in, but we had libraries, and they keep filling out all this, and and they said, we'd like to just do it the easiest way possible. That's what we talked about.
Where's the application?
Application follows it. I believe we
Find
said,
it online.
I assume it's under our resources on the website as well. It is.
charlescounty10.gov.
David said he's on the website.
Honestly, now that I'm looking at it, when I go to the application, it still just says due date May 1. It doesn't really clarify for
So we
whom.
need to clarify.
So if somebody downloaded this and there's no change to it, May 1, I would make the motion to put parentheses, library and rescue squad, semicolon, all others, July 1. Does that sound right? Do I have a second to make that amendment? I think that's just making it abundantly clear. Library and rescue squad, seconded by Ms. Curry. Lois, we're just adding to the application itself, line 2, one of the first things you see, application for nonprofit funding, due date. It says May 1, we're adding Library and Rescue Squad, semicolon, all others, July 1. Any questions about that motion and second? Yes, sir.
Is there gonna be any complaints of us requesting different things from different groups? You know, people are so touchy about everything these days.
It's just different dates, right? It's not different things.
Yeah, the contents that we're asking for haven't changed, aside from you don't have to give us as much paper. I think the flip side of that is I think it's helpful if they turn it in by May 1 and then they have to wait till, gosh, what is it, September that we ultimately vote on the discretionary nonprofits? They're just sort of in limbo and coming to all these meetings trying to see if they get brought up, and I don't know, I feel like we're being more transparent to when we'll actually vote on the discretionary nonprofits. Let's prove it.
Doesn't the maintenance of effort differentiate the two? The ones that are in tier 1 are all, they're not all maintenance of
Rescue
effort.
Squad doesn't have maintenance of effort.
Oh, that's right, okay.
Not a huge
It's all in ads and things that over there, and then what's picked up.
Mr. Adams is saying what brought this on is the fact that most nonprofits deliver a box full of packets for us, and last year, maybe a third of them got picked up and the rest just sat there. And it includes their bank records. We asked for their bank statements, which most nonprofits would consider somewhat private. They don't want just sitting down here for anybody to pick up. Yes, ma'am.
Putting the requirement for the documentation closer to the time of the decision making means you're gonna have more up-to-date records.
Any further comment? All right, so we're having a rule change. Yes. Oh, Lois. Yes, ma'am.
The senior center budget year runs from July through June. So they always have a problem on all of our counties getting that budget year. Is there any way to accommodate various charities that have different budget years? Because it always is difficult for us to decide.
Are we getting funded?
You have to give you that information, plus if you don't do it for, that's 3 months in August. Which makes a huge difference. We do a lot of our funding in the South Central. And they want it to be matched, I can't. So.
And you're just saying
It makes us so, it makes us wrong.
how did y'all deal with that last year? Because do you remember?
I think they just estimated, which is not necessarily estimated. They do give you the bank balance, obviously we have a bank balance that shows money. But they give you financial information, that's what years financial information.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, and I understand, and we talked about that last year. I would have no problem, since this affects their budget, I would have no problem moving them to the tier 1, so we could have them done earlier with us. And if there's anybody that does have a budgetary discretion, a problem with theirs, we could look at them. But I would have no problem, let's move them to the May and have it discussed with the rest of the tier 1s. That way it would line up with their budgetary year with them. So,
I understand what you're saying. Right now, our 2 tiers is just non-discretionary and then discretionary. You're talking about taking a discretionary one. I want to accommodate too. I think it might begin to, maybe snowball into, well, yeah, we want to be considered earlier too.
I was just going by, she does have a.
That's a good point, Mrs. Curry.
Well, and Lois is here in this meeting. The other nonprofits are not, so they don't have that opportunity to speak up right now while we're making the rules. So I think we need to stick with what we have.
Okay. Any second?
No, I wouldn't make a
Okay.
motion.
Yeah, no, it's a good suggestion.
No, I just brought it up as a discussion.
I'm sure they appreciate it too. Any further comment or discussion on this both the rule change and then slight change to the application itself, clarifying when the due dates are for the applications. Anybody? All right, go to roll call, no, just go to voice vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Well, I believe that's all of our business for legislative. Do we have any old or unfinished business? Do we have any new business? Has everybody signed the sign-in sheet? Do we have a motion? Motion to adjourn by Ms. Jones, seconded. I'm not buying lunch today. Seconded by Mr. Adams. Okay, seconded by Mr. Jones. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you.
It's only 10 o'clock.
It's amazing.